Before we get into some football, and I do want to spend this Friday edition of Waddle's World heavy ball talk.
Of ball talk.
Can you guys real quick explain to me what Moo Dang is?
The hippo?
Yeah, what's going on with this? Just real quick, let me know what this is all about.
It's just a cute baby hippo that's gone viral on the internet, and now people are showing up to the zoo and kind of harassing it.
Okay, so there was nothing. It was a baby hippo that was born in a zoo in Taiwan, right?
I believe it's Taiwan, yeah.
Thailand.
Or
Thailand,
Thailand,
I'm sorry.
yeah.
And everyone thought it was cute, like I'm sure all baby hippos are, and somehow, some way, it became an internet sensation.
Pretty much, yeah. Hit it on the head.
All right. I will give you some updates on some injuries as we head into the NFL Week 3, the weekend. Packers have listed quarterback Jordan Love as questionable with the Titans. Is there anything new on this, Meller or Tyler, over the last 20 minutes? I know that
No, I don't think we're going to get anything other than just, him being listed
do you
as
believe
questionable.
that they are playing coy with him, or you think that there is truly a chance that he plays?
I mean, so he was
Didn't we hear from Doug? Doug told us
Yeah.
earlier, Doug Kazarian, who joined us earlier to give us a little help with our gambling, said that he has talked to someone who believes that this is truly, there is an opportunity for Jordan Love to play.
I think, too, when you look at it, it's the third straight day now that he's been practicing for the Packers. I think there's a decent chance that he plays if he shows in warmups.
Well, there's one interesting thing, though, with this, and it's something else on the injury report. I believe he's their left tackle now. Jordan Morgan, the kid that they drafted in the first round, he is out.
He is.
So if you've got I don't know if he's left tackle or right tackle, I can't remember. But if you've got one of your tackles out, I don't know if I'm throwing Jordan Love back there.
It's a good point. Yeah, I think if there's any question at all, you give him an extra week. Chargers quarterback Justin Herbert is questionable with a high ankle sprain. If you saw that injury this past weekend and their win, that one looked like it was a doozy. They go on the road and they face the Pittsburgh Steelers. Obviously, they are a run-first team at this point, despite the great talent that Herbert brings to this organization. But another example of a quarterback. I don't know what decision they're going to make, but I'd be very careful with him. Patriots quarterback Jacoby Brissett will remain the starter, according to Gerard Mayo. They really couldn't get anything done on last night in the Meadowlands. I did see Drake May come in. Did you guys watch the game at that point? Had you bailed on it?
Yeah, I was actually about to turn it off, and then Drake May came in, and so I stuck around.
I was hoping that he would get in. He didn't look great. My guess is he didn't get a lot of reps earlier in the week.
The Jets defense looked like the defense that a lot of people expected it to be last night for the first time.
They were teeing off because they had a big lead, but difficult situation to put Drake May in, but he is not going to get the starting nod. That will remain with Jacoby Brissett. Obviously, we talked to you a little bit earlier. Keenan Allen for the Bears is going to miss this game with a heel injury, and I believe they've also said he will not make the trip to Indianapolis for personal reasons. So here's hoping that Keenan can get back on the field sooner rather than later. Bears have also ruled out fullback Kari Blasingame, Travis Homer, who had finger surgery, defensive tackle Zach Pickens, and right guard Nate Davis has a groin injury, listed as questionable, and Silvy says his people are telling him, don't be shocked if Matt Pryor gets the start.
Good.
So we'll see.
I'm glad to hear that. I want to see that. Enough of Nate Davis at this point. It cannot be any worse.
I'm with you. All right, let's get to the games this weekend. You got a full slate of games, obviously. You got 2 Monday night games as well. I didn't know that until about yesterday. And I'm pretty cool with that. I'm not opposed to having a couple of Monday night games every now and again.
Not opposed to it, but here's the thing. Unlike in the past when they've gone with the Monday night doubleheader, this year it's only spaced out by 45 minutes. The first game is Jacksonville at Buffalo. That's at 6:30 on Monday night. That's going to be on ESPN. And then on ABC at 7:15, you're going to get Washington. The Commanders are at Cincinnati to take on the Bengals.
Okay.
So it's, I don't know if they're going to overlap a little more than in the past.
Can I give you my conspiracy theory?
Give it to us.
This?
I love a good conspiracy
I ran it by
theory.
Meller the other day. I think this is the NFL in bed with YouTube TV. because YouTube TV has the multi-view function, and again,
Right.
YouTube TV is also the home of Sunday Ticket.
So you can
too.
watch two at the same
So
time.
you can watch two at the same time, and there's going to be people complaining about how they can only watch one
And
at
they're
a time.
going to say, whoa, you stop complaining and
Yeah.
subscribe to YouTube TV.
Yep.
How much does a YouTube TV subscription cost somebody?
I want to say it's like $80 a month, like $75-$80 a month.
Okay. Are you a YouTube TV subscriber?
I am.
Are you a satisfied YouTube
I am
TV
an
subscriber?
extremely satisfied.
Ooh,
YouTube.
extremely.
Yes.
Really?
So right
Do you get all
now,
the dirty channels with that as well?
I'm sure you can pay extra for that. Yes.
But you don't get those standard.
wait.
No.
Did you just say the dirty channels on YouTube TV?
It's a joke.
I know. I'm just amused by the idea of someone
That still would talk about dirty channels?
Well, yes, and the
All right.
idea that you'd have to look somewhere on YouTube TV. The one thing is, this is the first of back-to-back Monday Night Football doubleheaders.
Let's do it.
Because next week we got a doubleheader on Monday Night
Yes.
Football as well.
Let's do it. All right, let's start with this Bears game, okay? I told you guys earlier, I wanted to read you from ESPN's site, their NFL site. It's just on ESPN.com, where they do NFL Week 3 picks, schedule issues, odds, injury, fantasy tips, all kinds of, it's just football. And they give you a breakdown of the game, and then ultimately 3 people will pick the game, and then they'll give you what is your FPI prediction? What does the FPI stand for? Football.
Power Index.
Okay, whatever.
That was porn index, football porn index.
Yeah, the dirty shows. All right, so Bears are at the Colts this weekend, as we know. We've been talking about this all week. Here's the Bears storyline. This is what's on ESPN, on ESPN.com. Bears have a prime opportunity to ignite their non-existent run game against the Colts defense that has allowed a league most 237 rushing yards per game through 2 weeks. Outside of quarterback Caleb Williams' 44 rushing yards that were mostly gained on scrambles against the Texans, all other Bears rushers average 1.6 yards per carry. The emphasis on establishing the run is paramount for Chicago's offense and setting up play action opportunities to ignite the rhythm that was missing in week 1 and 2. That's courtesy of Courtney Cronin, our own Courtney Cronin. Colts storyline to watch. Colts quarterback Anthony Richardson has been consistently aggressive through 2 games with varying success. His 49.1% completion rate is last among starters, but he does have a league-high 13.7 air yards per attempt. But if you're not accurate, you're doing it infrequently. I think that there's only so much positive attached to that. Anyway, this could be a favorable matchup for Richardson, considering the Chicago defense has allowed a league-high 12 explosive pass completions in 2 weeks. That's according to Stephen Holder, who covers the Colts.
So how many of those were against the Texans versus Titans? I'm trying to remember how many did the Titans go for? Because the Texans are a different animal. C.J. Stroud finding Nico Collins and Stephon Diggs, and Tank Dell even dropping a big one.
Okay, well, let's go. There was a third and 17-yard dig route that Will Levis threw just a laser.
Correct.
There's one. There was a touchdown pass.
Yes, that's 2. Tyreek Stevenson let the ball go through his hands.
Yeah. Maybe one or
I guess,
maybe another one, but
I guess
not
do
many.
you think that stat is something that's kind of real, or
I think that stat is something to keep an eye on. It's like how I view analytics, Meller. There's a tool, that's one of the tools in your toolbox, but it ain't the only tool. So it's not the only stat that I would look at.
is it a screwdriver or a hammer?
More of a screwdriver than a hammer. Jonathan Taylor's 41 career rushing touchdowns is one shy of matching Marshall Faulk for 4th in the franchise career list. Who cares about that? They go with a bold prediction that Jalen Johnson will record an interception. I don't think that that's a wild projection because Anthony Richardson has proven to be very inaccurate and doesn't take care of the football.
Little stat for you on that, too. Anthony Richardson, so Pro Football Focus tracks what they call turnover-worthy plays. So it's like plays that could have resulted in a turnover. So, like, let's say an interception is dropped.
Right.
That goes into that bucket. Anthony Richardson leads the entire league in turnover-worthy play rate this season.
Do you believe there is a more ball-hawking defensive group in the league at this very moment than this Chicago Bears team?
There is not.
Hard to find one.
So this is what I'm saying. I'm getting to my point here. Keller from ESPN has this game picked. Colts 21, Bears 14. Moody. What's Moody's name?
Eric.
Eric Moody. I'm sorry, Eric. I wanted to make sure I got that correct. Has the Colts winning this game 24-17. Seth Walder has picked this game. Bears 24, Colts 20. And the FPI prediction has Indianapolis a 52.7% chance to win. Now, I just want to, so I've said to you guys, I've watched this film over and over again. I've gone through all of the analysis, and I know it doesn't project any guarantees. But let's walk through this, okay? Because the three of us are on the same side of this. Silvy, who left, obviously for a great cause, we're just giving him hell, has the Bears losing this game. The three of us, true Bear fans, have them winning this game.
Yes, we all made them our picks.
I understand the Bears' offense has struggled. There's no question. Their offensive line has put their quarterback in harm's way quite a bit. My hope is that they will make some adjustments, and a lot of that will, in fact, change. They have not been good. They haven't run the ball well. They haven't protected the quarterback well. But this is the elixir. And by the way, they have faced two of the better front sevens in the National Football League in the Titans and the Texans. But this is the elixir for a team that is struggling to get on track offensively. The Indianapolis Colts ranked 31st overall in yards allowed per game with 400. They give up, as I mentioned in this article, 237 rushing yards per game. They aren't good on third down. Teams have converted 55% of their third down conversion opportunities. Their pass rush has created just 3 sacks, and they're without their best defensive player, defensive tackle, former Pro Bowler DeForest Buckner, because he's out with injury. Now, again, I understand that this Colts defense is probably in their meeting rooms right now saying, hey, we caught a break with this Bears offense because they stink. Regardless, this defense is struggling. This is an opportunity for this Bears team to find their way against this Colts defense. Flip it around. I respect what the Colts are going to be able to do running the football. Jonathan Taylor's an excellent player. He's averaging 5 yards per carry. Anthony Richardson is a large part of what they're trying to do. You have to be very disciplined in how you're going to approach trying to slow down that run. But the game plan's simple, right? Contain the run and force the young quarterback to beat you through the air. He's been inconsistent. He's been inaccurate. And he has been prone to turnovers. So I'm giving you a good reason for why I have decided the way I've decided. And again, I can repeat it. I had the Bears at the start of the season. I thought this would be a difficult game for them. I thought, when we play the win-loss game, I had this as a loss. Monday I came in and thought, look, this Bears offense is really bad. This Colts team is, at this moment, is desperate. This is going to be a tough spot. They're harder to play in their building because they do have some skill and a lot of athleticism, and they're faster and harder to stop. So I was like, I'm going to stick with the Colts. Well, the more I watched film of both teams' games in week 2 and looked at both teams more closely, I can't come to the conclusion. The only edge that I can come up with that really is firmly on the
Colts,
on the ledger for the Colts, is that they're desperate.
Yes, I'm with you. I think both the picks, you gave us the 3 ESPN expert picks, and 2 of them pick the Colts, but everything you've said throughout the week, I think, is correct.
And a lot of the information I gave you from this, the site as they were coming to their conclusions
emphasizes what you've been laying out. Yes, and where the Bears have been susceptible so far this season is something that the Colts struggle with, and that is generating pressure.
Right.
And their Buckner's out. Leatu Latu, the first-round pick from UCLA, who the Colts invested a lot in to try and fix their pass rush, which was non-existent last year. He's dealing with an injury. He left last week's game with a hip injury, did not return. I believe he did have limited participation in practice today, but did not participate in Wednesday or Thursday's practices. So
then
that tells me that let's start.
Yeah,
let's just
before we
stay
get to
with
the
this
offense,
side.
defensively, the Colts.
This is an opportunity for a struggling Bears offense to really try to get themselves on track. Now, again, I'm not ignoring the issues that they have, and guys have to play better. But if you were going to find yourself in a favorable matchup early in a season where you have struggled, this would be that matchup.
Absolutely, and maybe this is just the Bears fan in me, and they say pride cometh before the fall, but because I will be very alarmed if the Bears offensively cannot put together a pretty nice performance on Sunday against the Colts.
And flip it around. This is a really exciting young quarterback who's inexperienced and doesn't take care of the football against a veteran defense that has found a way to pressure quarterbacks, that has been able to stop running games over the course of an entire 60-minute game, and that has taken the ball away.
This really does play into the Bears' hands as long as they don't find themselves behind the 8 ball.
So how am I supposed to come to the conclusion, and I understand I sound like the world's biggest homer right now, but I've tried to just lay this out analytically when I come to the conclusion that I think this is a game that the Bears do win. I mean, this will be the third time this offense has worked together. This challenge is significantly less frightful than the first two. I'm not expecting 50 points, but I don't know how I'm supposed to come to any other conclusion that the Bears win this game. It may be a tight game.
We've said, too, listen, it's one thing if they go out and lose in a shootout, the offense looks good. I can't see that being a possible result in this game. Like the Bears getting into a shootout against the Colts. I just think the Bears defense is going to make sure that this thing is not a shootout against the Colts.
And that's why I think all of us are on the Bears for this game.
Right. So, you can paint me a picture. Oh, Bears lose 17-13. Indianapolis found a way to get pressure and fluster Caleb. You can paint me that picture. I can't see us coming in on Monday feeling good about the Bears in a loss.
I'm with you because and if they lose, it's going to be in large part because their offense didn't contribute as much as I think they are capable of contributing in this game. And if that's the case, they're going to be.
We've got a problem. Monday's going to be.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough
conversation. It's going to be a hard show.
It doesn't mean that I think the rest of the season is lost, but at some point you have to find your rhythm offensively.
It'll be a stark reality check if the Colts are generating pressure on this offensive line.
Yeah.
As bad as it's been, with Matt Pryor, possibly starting, as Silvy pointed out, don't be surprised if that's the case for Nate Davis. If they're not plugged up the middle a little bit better than they have the first couple of games, we've got some real issues. And I think, you've pointed out all training camp long, you were disappointed with some of the solutions that Ryan Poles put together. You were hoping they would have done a little more. And I think we're going to have some people are going to be loud and mad on Monday if the Bears are having that same issue this Sunday.
Well, again, and I've said, good fortune is always one of the characteristics of a winning season, a championship season. I'm not suggesting this is a championship season, but they have been presented good fortune. That the difficult road was to start the season with a rookie quarterback, with a new coordinator, and a lot of new faces in that offensive huddle against a Titans team that had two monsters on the interior and a Texans team that can flat out get after you, and a defensive-minded head coach who is brilliant in game planning. This is a breather. You should take advantage of the breather.
And one more thing, too. Gus Bradley for the Colts, their defensive coordinator.
Yes.
He's somebody who is stuck in his ways.
That is exactly right. He is a firm believer in a zone-based defensive scheme. I believe they lead the National Football League through 2 weeks in running cover 3. 55% of the time is cover 3. Now, he may watch the film. I'm sure he watched the film. But he may come to the conclusion after watching the film of the Titans and the Texans that the best way to get Caleb
out of his
comfort zone is to bring pressure. But that would be
against his MO for the most part.
I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. All right, let's zip around the NFL. The Giants are at the Browns. I call this the poop bowl. What do you see happening here, Mel?
So I think the one thing that
it snappy because we're going to try to get to all these games.
So I would have said the Browns defense, I think, is the strongest unit, and they're going to lead the way. However, I'm a little concerned about the report regarding Myles Garrett dealing with some injuries. And if that is the case, all of a sudden, I'm a little bit more interested in how the Giants are going to approach this. But I think ultimately the Browns defense is the reason I think the Browns will emerge victorious in this one.
I'm riding with you. They're at home defensively. They're very good, and the Giants are very easily confused and bothered by a good pass rush. So I would say that the Browns at home, 6.5 is a big number, but I would say they're capable of covering that, Tyler.
Yeah, Brian Burns too was added to the Giants injury report today as well, and the Giants actually have a good defensive front in like their roster. It's probably as good as almost anybody's in football, but the problem is if you don't have Brian Burns, and this is a solid Cleveland offensive line as well. So
Are they healthy now? I know they were missing both tackles in week 1.
I believe at least one of them came back last week.
Are they going to play with a kicker this week?
Boy,
did you see what Dable did last week?
That's a fireable offense. They scored 3 touchdowns.
They signed a kicker.
Well,
they did.
And the truth is, this is not the first time that that's happened with Graham Gano. It happened last year as well, where they went into a game with him dinged up and injured, and then he hurt himself in pre-games again, and they had a kicker available on their practice squad who they could have traveled with on Sunday. The NFL has made it far more lenient where if you want to move a guy up from your practice squad on game day, it is much more easy to do than it has been in the past. And I don't know why Dable refuses to go with that situation, but they were unable to kick extra points in their game on Sunday. They ended up losing on 7 field goals to the Commanders, who kicked 7 field goals.
That's one of the more demoralizing losses I've seen for a team in quite some time. Packers are at the Titans. Doug told us he really likes the Titans in this game. We don't know what Jordan Love's status is going to be. He hasn't been ruled out. He hasn't been ruled in. After running for 261 yards against the Colts in Green Bay last week, they're facing a Titans team that is significantly better on defense. I still kind of would ride with the Packers in this game.
I think the Titans, maybe we get back to being, a little bit desperate here. I think the Titans are a better team, and I just think they need this win more than the Packers right now. So the desperation play here is the Titans for me. With a good defense.
You can need all you want.
With
I
a
need
good
a drink
defense,
right
though.
now,
I think
I'm not getting one.
I think with a good
you
defense. With a good defense and a banged up Jordan Love, I'm more inclined to think the Titans win this one.
That's fair, and they're at home.
And remember, it's Malik Willis's former team as well. I don't know how well you can scheme things up against the Titans as you did last week against the Colts.
So you guys have the Titans laying too.
Yeah.
Yeah, the points I don't know about, but I think the Titans win this one.
All right, I'm going to take the Packers in this game. Call me crazy. Texans at the Vikings, Miller. You and I see this the same way. There's some injuries here, including Jordan Addison won't play for the Vikings. You had the thigh injury for Justin Jefferson. My guess is that he is going to play. He said he's
fine, yes. But he's going to get Derek Stingley Jr., who's going to be covering him. One of the best we saw firsthand.
I'll tell you this. You watch the film. He did as good a job containing DJ Moore as I've seen any quarterback in the cornerback.
He's one of the top 3 cornerbacks in football. He might be the best
fantastic
when it comes to man-to-man coverage.
And it's a big reason why I'm with you with the Texans because, look, you can't shut down Justin Jefferson, but if he's got a little bit of a hiccup in his step, Stingley will have a better chance keeping him in check. That pass rush, I think, will get to Sam Darnold. And I can't see the Vikings getting to 3-0.
Danielle Hunter, he gets to go back to Minnesota where he had a lot of sacks in the past for the Vikings. So I like the Texans. And the other point, C.J. Stroud against the blitz, which is what Brian Flores excels at. He's one of the best quarterbacks in football when he faces the blitz. So
the one problem, though, with Stroud, he's taken a lot of sacks this year.
Like he's very sackable. That's what I said last week. He got sacked 4 times by the Colts. Bears got him, 3 times?
3 times, I believe.
He was sacked 38 times as a rookie.
And if Flores can generate pressure, like his pressure to sack rate is 44.4%. So pretty much when you get pressure, which we know Brian Flores can get pressure on a quarterback, he's going down 1 out of every 2 dropbacks.
You're right, but Stroud is poised in the pocket. He doesn't turn it over. And while he may take a sack every now and again, he's going to get you with one of those receivers, Collins, Diggs, or Tank Dell. So you got the Vikings?
No, I still like the Texans, but I think it's going to be
closer,
kind of
a little closer.
Here's a really interesting game in my humble opinion. It's the Eagles at the Saints.
Are you a believer in the Saints?
I am not a believer that the Saints are this good. I believe that they are better. I don't believe that they're this magically unstoppable offensive crew that they've been in the first 2 weeks.
First team in the NFL to register, 41 points in 3 consecutive games since the 2007 Patriots. Was that the team that went 16-0? 2007, I believe. I mean, Cliff Kubiak, who has installed motion into the Saints offense for the first time.
I want to see the Bears use more motion too.
Listen, that's kind of the cheat code in the NFL these days, is using motion, and Shane Waldron is amongst, I believe they're 31st in motion, the Bears, that is. So that could be an issue down the road here. But motion has unlocked the Saints offense, and Derek Carr is actually throwing deep this year. So we'll see if they continue to do it. The Eagles are without A.J. Brown again for a second consecutive week.
I'm not an Eagles believer. I've told you that for a year plus now. I think the addition of who did they added?
Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, not just Barkley. They added a third receiver too that I
Jahan
thought.
Dotson.
Yeah, I thought he was going to be a difference maker too. But I don't believe in their defense. Vic Fangio came in to shore things up, and
no, they haven't.
No,
it
They
hasn't
were out
worked.
of gas in the second half too.
No.
Like, look how worn down.
Yeah, Kirk
they
Cousins
are.
took it right down the field in the minute 7 on Monday Night Football.
I don't. This would be a game that you wouldn't get my money on either way. I think there'll be a lot of points scored because defensively, I think that they're both going to be challenged. But who you got, Saints or Eagles?
I like the Saints.
Would you
but
have ever thought you would have picked the Saints
no.
to start 3-0?
And I also I would not bet this game either.
I would leave it alone. Meller?
Yeah, I reluctantly am taking the Eagles because I just am not a complete believer in the Saints, but I don't have a good feeling about that one.
I don't either. I'd leave it alone. I would probably lean to the Saints winning this game, but I do believe that the scoreboard will be lit up. And for a game that the scoreboard may not get any activity at all. The Chargers are at the Steelers. This is one of those, if you like old-timey football stuff, this is your game. If you like high-scoring games, this isn't your game.
Yeah, Justin Fields getting the start again, third straight start for the Steelers. How long is he gonna hang on to that job?
I don't know, but I'll tell you this. Like, I have no problem, and I've said this all along. When you play well, I will acknowledge that you play well. I thought Justin played really well last week. I think his numbers were negatively affected by a couple of penalties. He had one touchdown pass. He had a second touchdown pass that was called back because of a penalty. He had a couple long passes. Arthur Smith has done a really nice job just kind of limiting what they're asking him to do. He has limited his mistakes. They've only, gone on one offensive touchdown drive. I get it, but he's done enough to help them with that defense get to 2-0, and I ain't picking against Harbaugh, though.
Well, Justin Herbert, a little dinged up on the other side.
Yeah, that's tough. And the Chargers now, they're 2-0, but they've beaten the Raiders and the Panthers. So even though I believe in Jim Harbaugh and what he does to turn around a football program, I'm not necessarily thinking they can go into Pittsburgh and beat that defense. I think the Steelers might have the best defense in football.
Shame on you. I'm riding with Harbaugh.
I'm rooting for him.
This is my quarterback, man.
I want the Chargers to win. I'm rooting for him. I have them in the wins pool, but I think the Steelers win this one at home.
I go with the Steelers in this game. I think this is gonna be an ugly game.
It is. Broncos at the Bucks. Let's speed it up.
Baker
Tyler?
Mayfield and the Bucks.
Okay,
at home.
Tyler?
Yeah, I'd take the Bucks. That's another gross game too.
Yeah, I'm really. I kept telling
The
everybody.
Bucks have been fun. They've been plucky and fun.
They have, and they were competitive in Detroit last year in the postseason as well. So I'm not shocked. I love watching Baker Mayfield succeed. Bo Nix is struggling right now, and even a great offensive mind like Sean Payton isn't able to help. I like the Buccaneers in that game as well. Panthers at the Raiders. An opportunity for the Raiders to get their second win of the season.
I think Andy Dalton and the Panthers upset the world. They're getting 6 points.
I think the Raiders went to Baltimore and beat the Ravens.
Perfect letdown game for the Ravens. I think the Panthers are going to be a much more pro-ready offense with Andy Dalton at center. Bryce Young was just shell-shocked. He needed a break.
And Bryce Young was not being pressured last week either.
Yeah, I
If you
know.
give Andy Dalton a clean pocket, I think he'll be able to cut up this Raiders defense.
I would take the 5 for sure. The Raiders are 5-point favorites in that game. I think we all got to Carolina with the points. Dolphins at the Seahawks, another one that, Skylar Thompson, what are your expectations for him under center for the Dolphins versus Geno Smith and the Seahawks in their building?
Yeah, Seattle at home. That's just one where I'm going to go ahead and take the Seahawks and make Skylar Thompson prove me wrong.
Yeah, inexperienced quarterback heading into the 12th man. I don't like that.
Yeah, I got the Seahawks as well. By the way, this would be an opportunity for the Seahawks to get to 3-0, start the season under the guidance of a new head coach. The Ravens at the Cowboys. Ravens are a little bit desperate at 0-2. Cowboys look like garbage at home in their home opener against the Saints.
And Tom Brady will be on the hometown call for his Cowboys. He's obviously following them all season long.
Talking
for
in
Fox.
circles more than I am right now.
No, he's not. He just happens to be his 3 first games are all Cowboys games. America's team. I think the Ravens are going to win this one. They're 0-2, and they're 2 games where They actually probably should have won both games. They coughed up a big lead to the Raiders last week. I think they get this one and beat the Cowboys in Dallas.
I'm on the other side. I think the Cowboys are the ones that'll bounce back here. The Ravens really, I don't think, have looked all that impressive to me so far through the first 2 games.
Well, they haven't asked Derrick Henry to carry the rock late in games. I think they're struggling with some offensive line. They've got new faces on their own line. The Cowboys' defense was atrocious last week. I don't know how much better that gets. They've got some issues on their offensive line as well. I'll ride with the Ravens here. I'm not a Cowboy believer either. So I'm riding with the Ravens. 49ers at the Rams. I'll pick the 49ers. They've got a lot of injuries.
Yeah, the Rams are messed up. Well, they're both injured, but the Rams are more injured.
Yeah, I think that's an NFC West game that looked really good when the season kicked off, but right now it's just,
a lot of key players out for that game.
So we're all on the 49ers there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Lions at the Cardinals, a really interesting one. I think the Lions bounce back. Doug talked to us about this as well. They've got a great record under their coach, Dan Campbell, after coming off a loss.
I think they might have been reading their press clippings this offseason. I actually think the Cardinals are going to win this game at home.
The Cardinals have had a great offense this year. I would take I think the Lions win, but if you made me bet the game, I would take the Cardinals in the 3.
Okay, Chiefs at the Falcons. I've got the Chiefs. I don't think the Falcons are where they need to be just yet.
Yeah. Again, I think the Eagles gifted the Falcons that win, and that's actually given them a little bit more benefit of the doubt than they deserve. I think the Chiefs on the road on Sunday Night Football are going to have their way with the Falcons defense and win this one handsomely.
I think it will be close. I think we're going to get another primetime Mahomes last-second touch or field goal drive.
Jags at the Bills. I think the Bills win this one by 6, which covers the number at 5.
Yeah, I think Josh Allen will actually have a much bigger passing game than he did last week because they didn't need to pass the ball. I think they'll win this one. I'm going to say double digits. I don't think it's close.
Okay.
The Jags have sneaky been good against the Bills, so I'm going to take the Jags with the points, but the Bills to win outright.
And finally, the Commanders at the Bengals. Bengals actually looked like a much better team last week in Kansas City. Can they look better at home against the Commanders? I say yes.
Yeah.
Maybe not 7.5 points better, but I think they win this game.
I think that might be kind of a low-scoring game, too. Just one offense that hasn't looked good, the others very inexperienced there. So I like a low-scoring game, Bengals win.
I got one question for you, Waddle.
Yeah.
Who they say going to beat them Bengals?
Yeah, pretty much everyone that's played them so far.
Not the Commanders on Monday. Give me the Bengals.
That's fair. All right, that's a quick look at Week 3 schedule in the National Football League.